Hello friends, today in this video we'll study about Streptococcus. Here we'll study about classification. Here under classification we'll study about alpha hemolytic streptococci, beta hemolytic streptococci, gamma or non-hemolytic streptococcus. Okay. And then we'll study about Streptococcus pyogenes. Under this we'll study about morphology, culture, biochemical reactions, resistance, antigenic structure, toxins, enzymes, pathogenesis, epidemiology, laboratory diagnosis, treatment, prophylaxis, and then we'll study about other hemolytic streptococcus cocci. Under this we'll study about group B streptococci, group C streptococci, group F streptococcus, group G streptococci, group D streptococci, and then we'll study about viridans streptococci. So let's begin with the introduction. Streptococci are gram-positive cocci which are arranged in chains. They are part of the normal human flora. Some of them are important human pathogens causing pyogenic infections. They grow poorly in simple media, but their growth is enhanced by the addition of fermentable carbohydrate, blood or serum. Carbohydrate means here example is glucose, and the name streptococci, streptos means twisted or coiled, was given by Bill Roth in 1874. Then Rosenbach in 1884 coined the name Streptococcus pyogenes for the organisms which he isolated from human suppurative lesions. Now let's know about the classification. Streptococci are divided into aerobic streptococci and obligate anaerobes and facultative anaerobes. Obligate anaerobes streptococci are described in non-sporing anaerobes, aerobic and facultative anaerobic streptococci are classified on the basis of their hemolytic properties. Three types of hemolytic reactions are observed on blood agar medium, that is alpha, beta and gamma. Now let's study about alpha hemolytic streptococci. They produce a greenish discoloration around the colonies. This is due to a partial hemolysis. The zone of lysis is small with presence of unlysed erythrocytes which are detectable microscopically. Alpha hemolysis is seen with viridans group of streptococci and pneumococcus. Now let's know about beta hemolytic streptococci. These streptococci produce a clear colorless zone of complete hemolysis, that is 2 to 4 micrometer wide, around the colonies, within which erythrocytes are completely lysed. Production of the lysis of erythrocytes is due to the production of two types of streptolysin by the organism, streptolysin O and streptolysin S. The former is destroyed by oxygen and latter is oxygen stable. Streptolysin S is responsible for surface colony hemolysis. Since most strains produce both types of hemolysin, they can usually be recognized by beta hemolysis of surface colonies. Most of the pathogenic streptococci fall into this group. Streptococcus pyogenes is the most important and is responsible for many important human infections. Now let's know about gamma or non-hemolytic streptococci. They produce no hemolysis, and Streptococcus facilis is an example. The beta hemolytic streptococci were classified by Landsfield in 1933 serologically into a number of broad groups based on the nature of the carbohydrate antigen on the cell wall. These are known as Landsfield groups, 20 of which have been identified, named A to V, without I and J by the precipitation reaction performed with appropriate sera. Majority of the streptococci that produce human infections belong to group A, named as Streptococcus pyogenes. These are further subdivided by the type specific antisera into approximately 80 Griffith serotypes based on their surface proteins. Serotyping of isolated strains is useful in epidemiological studies. Now let's know about Streptococcus pyogenes. Let's study about the morphology. The individual cocci are spherical or oval, 0.5 to 1.0 micrometer in diameter and are arranged in chains. Chain formation is due to successive cell division occurring in one plane only and daughter cells falling to separate completely. Larger chains are formed in liquid than in solid media. The length of bacterial chain has no relevance to virulence or other properties. In fact, non-pathogenic strains such as Streptococcus salivarius forms the longest chain. Streptococci are gram-positive, non-motile and non-sporing. Some strains of Streptococcus pyogenes and group C have capsule composed of hyaluronic acid, while members of groups B and D show polysaccharide capsules. These capsules are best noticeable in very young cultures. Now let's know about culture. They are aerobes and facultative anaerobes growing best at a temperature of 37 degrees centigrade. These are most exacting in nutritive requirements, growth occurring only in media containing blood, serum or sugars. On blood's agar, after overnight incubation, the colonies are small, 0.5 to 0.5 to 1.0 mm pinpoint. Circular, small and small means circular, semi-transparent, low convex with a wide zone of beta hemolysis around them. Growth and hemolysis are promoted by presence of 10% carbon dioxide in the environment. Mucoid colonies are formed by strains which produce large capsules. Selective media containing 1:5 lakh crystal violet permit growth of streptococci but inhibit other bacteria, especially streptococci. In liquid media such as glucose broth, growth occurs as a granular turbidity with a powdery deposit. Bacterial chains being heavier settle down as deposit. Now let's know about biochemical reactions. Streptococci are catalase negative. Unlike streptococci which are catalase positive, they are not soluble in 10% bile. Unlike Streptococcus pneumoniae, hydrolysis of pyrrolidonyl, naphthalamide and failure to ferment ribose are useful to differentiate Streptococcus pyogenes from other streptococci. PYR positive bacteria produce a deep red color, whereas PYR negative organisms produce a slight orange color or no color change. Several sugars are fermented by streptococci producing acid but no gas. They are of little value in laboratory identification. Now let's know about resistance. Streptococcus pyogenes is a delicate organism which is inactivated by heat at 56 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes. It dies in a few days in cultures but can be stored in Robertson's cooked meat medium at 4 degrees centigrade. It is rapidly inactivated by antiseptics. It is more resistant to crystal violet than many other bacteria. Therefore, this dye is used to prepare selective media for the isolation of streptococci. It is susceptible to sulfonamide and many antibiotics. Unlike Staphylococcus aureus, it does not develop drug resistance. Sensitivity to bacitracin is employed for differentiating streptococci pyogenes, that is group A, from other hemolytic streptococci. Now let's know about antigenic structure. Under this we will study about capsular hyaluronic acid. Capsule may be present on group A, C streptococci. The capsule when present inhibits phagocytosis. Next is group specific polysaccharide antigen. The cell wall is composed of an outer layer of protein and lipoteichoic acid, a middle layer of group specific carbohydrate and specific C carbohydrate, and inner layer of peptidoglycan, that is mucoprotein. The peptidoglycan is responsible for the cell wall rigidity. It has also some biological activities, example pyrogenic and thrombolytic activity. Landsfeld grouping is done on the basis of group specific C carbohydrate. Streptococcus pyogenes belong to group A. Now let's know about type specific antigens. The outer part of the cell wall contains protein antigens. Streptococcus pyogenes is further subdivided on the basis of their surface proteins M, T and R. M protein. Let's know about M protein. It is the most important antigen and acts as a virulence factor by inhibiting phagocytosis. It is antigenic in nature. The antibody to M protein is protective. The M protein is heat and acid stable but susceptible to trypsin. About 80 M protein types have been recognized. After extraction of M protein, typing is done with type specific sera. M protein along with other specific antigens probably have an important role in pathogenesis and rheumatic fever. Now let's know about T and R proteins. The T protein is an acid labile trypsin resistant antigen. It may be specific, but many different M types may have the same T antigen. It is usually differentiated by agglutination with specific antisera. Another surface protein R has been identified in some types of streptococci pyogenes and some strains of group B, C and G. The T and R proteins have no relation to virulence of streptococci. Now let's know about other associated factors. A non-type specific protein associated with the M protein is identified. This is known as M associated protein, that is in short MAP. Some M types of streptococci pyogenes produce a lipoproteinase which is known as serum opacity factor, in short SOF. These strains produce opacity when applied to agar gel containing horse or swine serum, hair-like pili means or fimbriae, which consist partly of M protein and are covered with lipoteichoic acid, are present in group A. Streptococci. They are important in the attachment of streptococci to epithelial cells. Now let's know about toxins and enzymes. Streptococci pyogenes produces several exotoxins and enzymes which contribute to its virulence. Now let's know about toxins. Hemolysins. First is hemolysins. Streptococci produce two types of hemolysins, streptolysin O and S. Streptolysin O is so named because it is oxygen labile. It is inactivated in the presence of oxygen but may be reactive by treatment with reducing substances. It is heat labile, it lyses red cells and is also cytotoxic for neutrophils, platelets and cardiac tissues. It is demonstrable only in deep colonies and not in surface cultures. It is antigenic and anti-streptolysin O regularly appears in sera following streptococcal infection. An ASO titer in serum is excess of 200 units suggest either recent or recurrent streptococcal infection. Streptolysin O and S are produced by group A, C and G. Streptolysin S is an oxygen stable hemolysin and is responsible for the hemolysin seen around colonies of streptococci on the surface of blood agar plates. In addition to hemolytic property, it has got leukocidal action. It is a protein in nature but is not antigenic. Convalescent sera do not neutralize streptolysin S activity. Now let's know about pyrogenic exotoxin. This toxin is responsible for the rash of scarlet fever. It is only produced by lysogenic strains of group A streptococci. Three antigenically distinct forms of pyrogenic exotoxin A, B and C have been described. Types A and C are coded for by bacteriophage genes, but type B genes is chromosomal. These exotoxins are superantigens, T cell mitogens, which induce massive release of inflammatory cytokines. The toxin is antigenic and is neutralized by antibodies present in the convalescent sera. It causes pyrogenicity, cytotoxicity, and enhancement of susceptible to endotoxin. This toxin was renamed streptococcal pyrogenic exotoxin because induction of fever is the primary effect of toxin. This toxin is responsible for Dick test and Charlton reaction. When the toxin is injected intradermally into the skin of a susceptible child, a localized erythematous reaction appears. This is called a Dick test. This is called the Dick test. The test becomes negative during convalescent due to neutralization of toxin by antibodies. In injected locally into the rash, balancing of the rash occurs. It is named as Church-Charlton's reaction. These tests are now only of historical importance as scarlet fever is now rarely seen. Now let's know about enzymes. Streptokinase. Here enzyme is streptokinase. First is streptokinase under this, or we can say fibrinolysin. It promotes the lysis of blood fibrin clot by catalyzing the conversion of plasminogen into plasmin. It is protein in nature and antigenic. Neutralizing antibodies appear in convalescent sera, which may be estimated for retrospective study of streptococcal infection. Streptokinase facilitates the spread of infection by breaking down the fibrin barrier around the lesions. Now let's know about deoxyribonucleases. Group A streptococci elaborate 4 antigenically distinct deoxyribonucleases, that is DNase, A, B, C, D, of which type B is the most antigenic in man. These enzymes liquefy the highly viscous DNA that accumulate the thick pus. DNA present in pus derives from the nuclei of necrotic cells. This explains the thin serous character of streptococcal exudate. Enzyme preparation containing both streptokinase and streptodornase have been applied clinically in liquefying localized collections of thick exudates as in empyema. Antibodies against deoxyribonuclease B is useful in retrospective diagnosis of streptococcal pyogenes infections, particularly in skin infections where ASO titer may be low. Apart from group A, deoxyribonuclease is also elaborated by group C and G streptococci. Now let's know about necrotinamide adenine dinucleotidase. NADase acts on the coenzyme NAD and liberates nicotinamide from the molecule. It is produced by group A, C and G streptococci and is antigenic. It is believed to be leukotoxic. Now let's know about hyaluronidase. It is produced by strains of group A, B, C and G streptococci. It breaks down hyaluronic acid of the tissues and favors spread of streptococcal lesion along intracellular spaces. The enzyme is antigenic and specific antibodies appear in patient sera. Streptococci produces a hyaluronic acid capsule and also produce an enzyme hyaluronidase, a seemingly self-destructive process. But it is found that those strains which form hyaluronidase in large quantities are non-capsulated. There is also evidence that hyaluronidase produced in tissues is more in amounts than in cultures. Now let's know about other extracellular products. Many strains produce neuraminidase, esterases, phosphatase, amylase, lipase, N-acetyl glucosaminidase, and beta-glucuronidase. Contribution of these products in pathogenesis is not known. Some M-type of streptococcal pyogenes produce serum opacity factor, which has been studied. We have studied. Now let's know about pathogenesis. Streptococci pyogenes produces pyogenic infections with a tendency to spread locally. Non-suppurative sequelae of local infections include acute glomerulonephritis and rheumatic fever. Now let's know about pyogenic infections. Respiratory infections. First is respiratory infections. Sore throat is the most common of streptococcal diseases. Tonsillitis is more common in older children and adults. The organisms may spread to surrounding tissues, leading to complications such as cervical adenitis, otitis media, quinsy, Ludwig's angina, and mastoiditis. It may rarely lead to meningitis. Now, let's know about scarlet fever. It consists of a combination of sore throat and a generalized erythematous rash. It is caused by a stain producing the erythrogenic toxin. It is now rarely seen in UK and other colder countries. It does not occur in India. Now, let's know about skin infections. Streptococci pyogenes causes suppurative infections of the skin with a predilection to produce lymphangitis and cellulitis. Infection of minor abrasions may sometimes lead to fatal septicemia. The two typical streptococcal skin infections are erysipelas and impetigo. Erysipelas is an acute spreading lesion. Skin shows massive browny edema with erythema. Elderly persons are usually affected. Impetigo is found mainly in young children. It is caused by streptococcal pyogenes belonging to certain limited number of serotypes. These skin infections are the main cause leading to acute glomerulonephritis in children in the tropics. The skin infection's antibody response to streptolysin O is not high. Therefore, ASO titer does not have as much clinical significance as in pharyngeal infections. Antibodies in DNase B are more useful in retrospective diagnosis of skin infections antecedent to acute glomerulonephritis. Now let's know about other pyogenic infections. Puerperal sepsis. First is streptococci pyogenes was an important cause of puerperal sepsis. It used to take a heavy toll of life before antibiotics became available. Sepsis. Now let's know about sepsis, that is infections of skin lesions, wounds and burns. Now let's know about another pyemia, septicemia, abscess in internal organs like brain, lung, liver and kidney. Now let's know about non-suppurative complications. Streptococci pyogenes infections are sometimes followed by two important non-suppurative sequelae, acute rheumatic fever and acute glomerulonephritis. These complications occur 1 to 4 weeks after the acute infection. Streptococcal pyogenes is no longer detectable when these complications set in. The latent period suggests an immune response. Rheumatic fever is often preceded by sore throat, while acute glomerulonephritis is by the skin infection. These sequelae or complications are believed to be result of hypersensitivity to some streptococcal components. Rheumatic fever may follow infection with any serotype of streptococcal pyogenes, while acute glomerulonephritis is caused by only a few nephrogenic types. The mechanism by which streptococci produce rheumatic fever is still not clear. A common cross-reacting antigen may exist in some group A streptococci and heart. Therefore, antibodies produced in response to streptococcal infection could cross-react with myocardial and heart valve tissue, causing cellular destruction. Acute glomerulonephritis probably develops because some components of glomerular basement membrane are antigenically similar to the cell membranes of nephrogenic streptococci. Antibodies formed against streptococci cross-react with glomerular basement membrane and result in damage. Alternatively, streptococci antigen-antibody complexes may deposit in the glomeruli. In either case, the activation of the complement components C3 and C5 leads to tissue destruction. Now let's know about epidemiology. The major sources of infection are patients and carriers. So symptomless infection is common and maintains the organism in the community. Transmission is either by direct contact or fomites. Streptococcal infection of the respiratory tract are more frequent in children 5 to 8 years of age. Outbreak of infection occur in close communities such as army camps or boarding schools. Control measures include either detect either detection of patients and carriers and their treatment. Now let's know about laboratory diagnosis. Diagnosis of acute suppurative infections is made by culture, while in the non-suppurative complications diagnosis is mainly based on the demonstration of antibodies. Now let's know about acute suppurative infections. Here we'll study about specimens. Specimen is collected according to the site of lesion such as swab, pus, blood and or CSF. Now let's know about collection and transport. Specimens should be collected in sterile container under all aseptic conditions. This should be plated immediately or sent to the laboratory in pikes transport medium. Now let's know about gram staining of smears. Gram positive loci in chains is indicative of streptococcal infection. Smears are of no value where streptococci are present as part of the resident flora, such as in infections of the throat and genitalia. Smear examination is important in specimens such as pus and CSF. Now let's know about culture. The specimen is inoculated on blood agar medium and incubated at 37 degrees centigrade for 18 to 24 hours. Hemolysis develops better under anaerobic conditions or in the presence of 5 to 10% carbon dioxide. Sheep blood agar is preferred as human blood may contain certain inhibitors. Now let's know about colony morphology and staining. The colony of streptococci are small 0 to 5 to 1.0 mm size of pinpoint as compared to pinhead size of streptococci. Circular, low convex with a zone of beta hemolysis around them. In liquid medium such as glucose broth, growth occurs as a granular turbidity with a powdery deposit. Streptococci chains being heavier settle down as a powdery deposit. Now, gram staining of colonies show gram positive cocci in chains. Hanging drop preparation from liquid medium shows non-motile cocci. Now let's know about biochemical reactions. Streptococci are catalase negative, which is an important test to differentiate streptococci from staphylococci. They are not suitable in 10% bile, unlike Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococci ferment sugars producing acid but no gas. PYR test and failure to ferment ribose are useful in identification of Streptococcus pyogenes from other streptococci. Now let's know about identification of various groups of streptococci. Streptococci pyogenes is more sensitive to bacitracin, that is 1 unit per ml, than other streptococci. Group A streptococci can be rapidly identified by fluorescent antibody technique. Group B streptococci may be identified by the CAMP reaction, that is Christie, Atkins and Much-Peterson. Group D can be isolated by performing heat resistant test. Now let's know about Lancefield grouping. Hemolytic streptococci are grouped serologically by the Lancefield technique. It is done for definite classification and epidemiological studies. Lancefield grouping depends on C carbohydrate, which is specific for each group. C carbohydrate is extracted from the cell wall of streptococci are grown in toad wilt broth, and extraction of C carbohydrate may be done with hydrochloric acid or formamide or by autoclaving. Randall method or by an enzyme produced by Streptomyces albus. The extract and the specific antisera are allowed to react in capillary tubes. Precipitation occurs within 5 minutes. Besides capillary precipitation, grouping may also be done by agar gel precipitation. Now let's know about antigen detection test. That is, ELISA and agglutination test are used to demonstrate group A streptococcal antigen from throat swabs. Now let's know about non-suppurative complications. In rheumatic fever and glomerulonephritis, serological tests provide retrospective evidence of streptococcal infection. The routine test done is anti-streptolysin O titration. A titer of 200 units or more is significant in rheumatic fever and is indicative of prior streptococcal infection. ASO test is a neutralization reaction where antibodies to streptolysin O are neutralized with streptolysin O antigen. ASO titer is usually found in high levels in rheumatic fever, but in glomerulonephritis titer tend to be low. Therefore, deoxyribonuclease B estimation is more reliable. Titers higher than 300 or 350 are significant. This test is very useful for retrospective diagnosis of streptococcal pyoderma, for which ASO is of less value. Anti-hyaluronidase is another useful test for pyoderma infection of streptococci. The streptozyme test, a passive slide hematoagglutination test, is a sensitive and specific screening test. It becomes positive after nearly all types of streptococcal infection, whether of the throat or the skin. Now let's know about treatment. Penicillin G is the drug of choice. In patients allergic to penicillin, erythromycin or cephalexin is used. Antibiotics have no effect on established glomerulonephritis and rheumatic fever. Now let's know about prophylaxis. Prophylaxis is indicated only in the prevention of rheumatic fever. This prevents streptococcal reinfection and further damage to the heart. Penicillin is administered for a long period in children who have developed early signs of rheumatic fever. Now let's know about other hemolytic streptococci. Besides streptococci,